What's up everybody, we are Dyalla and Phil, and this video is gonna be part 4 of our little Germany city trip. So this actually is not a hotel room, no. We are actually in our apartment, and that means today we're gonna take you out to a small town in contrast to the bigger ones we did recently and show you where we live right now and just experience that German small town life.
Deutschland, kleine Stadt life.
Exactly, let's go. So we are in this town called Duderstadt, which is in the very southern end of Lower Saxony. It's a small town, and it's the town where we're living right now. And it's actually the town where I grew up as well. It has a population of only 10,000 people, and it's a very, very old town. I think the first documents that we have about the town are from the 10th century, like 920 something. So it's about 1100 years old. It has a little bit of a medieval thing to it still. So right now we're standing on this wall of dirt which circles the city, and it was one of the 2 or even more defense walls of the city. They had the dirt wall, and then a little bit closer inside they have a stone wall as well, and those were like fortress walls. So back in the day when attackers tried to conquer the city, they told us in school they actually used hot oil and hot tar to pour onto the attackers from the walls up here and defend the city.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Nowadays it's kind of used for like running and walking, and a lot of dogs are here. We've actually seen a horse walk along this wall before. But it's about 3 kilometers around, and it's a good place for a nice walk.
Jog.
Yeah. Alright, so we made it to the little market of Duderstadt. There was a sign actually, you have to wear a mask when you're there now. But it's on every Wednesday and Saturday. They have this little market, and I really like it. I mean, there's a lot of farmers markets in the US too, so I'm kind of used to it. What's nice about it is that there's so many flowers. I feel like I'm brought back to an older time where people still value flowers and they have them out every day. I really like that part of it. But there's this one place, it's a Greek food stall, right? Yeah. And we always get their cheese. They have Schafkäse, which is sheep cheese, and then we got this little paste. This one's a tomato base, and then he also gave us this curry one for free. So that was nice. We're gonna try it out. One thing I do notice that summer in Germany, sometimes it's either hot or it's not. Today it's pretty cloudy, but I was surprised by how many people are out in the market. Usually if it's very sunny, everyone is on this market on a Saturday. So the statue is for the reunification of East and West Germany, and it's also a very awesome Pokemon gym here. See? But it's really interesting because not too far from here is where the wall was.
Yeah, we're like a mile from the border.
Yeah.
The Iron Curtain.
Yeah, the Iron Curtain was not too far from here, and a lot of families were separated during that time. It reminds me of how much history is in this area. It's kind of crazy. I remember 2 years ago when we first arrived in Germany. It was really my first time coming to Germany, so I didn't know what to expect. But we arrived in Frankfurt and I was a little underwhelmed. It felt like a pretty normal big city to me. It wasn't until we came here to Duderstadt that I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in Disney World or something. With all these half-timbered houses, I thought it was so quaint, and you have the churches on both ends of the street, and the city hall is just, it feels super German. It looks very medieval German to me. You can see it over there, and I think it's the red and the white combination together that I really, it felt like I was in a different world. It felt like almost like a studio for Disney World or something.
Yeah, it's actually one thing the city always advertises with. That's one of the cities that has like a high percentage of these half-timbered houses from medieval times still in good condition, and they're trying to keep it that way. So I think we have more than 600 500 here in a very small town.
Yeah.
And it's just making up the face of the city, like how it looks. I guess it's kind of cute.
Yeah, I mean, it makes up the entirety of the city, and I love how the shops underneath are kind of built in with it. It still has a lot of the older charm here.
All right, so that in the background is the city hall, the old city hall.
Yeah.
There's actually a newer one.
And that's where we got married.
Yeah, that's actually where we got married. They have a little tour, and we're gonna see if we can do it right now.
Going into the dungeons.
Yes, let's go. So I think this thing is like 600 or 700 years old, like 13th, 14th century that was built. I'm surprised they had these elevators. Let's see all the old wooden beams, and I would assume that little weird guy we just saw outside, the creep that comes out every 2 hours, plays his song.
He plays the song for like a minute.
Oh yeah, that guy's actually called the Anreichke, and it's a statue of a former builder in the medieval ages, I think in the 16th century. Don't quote me on that. His name was Andreas, and he was in charge for building the stone fortress wall, and apparently he ruled like with an iron fist, and the farmers who had to build all that stuff hated him, and now he has like this wooden statue comes out and creepily greets the city every 2 hours.
Dude, if I was a kid, that would give me nightmares. Like, I don't understand how that's in the center of your city every hour.
Look at that concrete, it's just smushed together. Main thing has to look pretty from the outside.
Yeah, that's so funny. This is the definition. The outside looks nice, inside don't matter. Ooh, we're going up to the tower.
They actually had a couple of these surrounding watchtowers all around the city to just see attackers early and then call the people in behind the fortress walls and get ready to defend the city.
Das große Mausohr.
10th century they did that, and apparently the enemy was the Hungarians. That's what we had to defend against, the Hungarians. Yeah, I don't need to read all of that. Like, we should just go, right?
I pay money, I read, so I get the big brain.
I think that ship has sailed.
What did you say?
The room we got married in is right below this. So it kind of looked like this one, like an old medieval room. This is how small the people were back in the day.
Intense sound effects. Creepy. It's creepy in here now.
But I think there's supposed to be a torture chamber somewhere.
This is the creepy part. It's the torture chamber. They kill people here. It smells like death.
They don't kill people here, they just torture people. Yeah, so since
they do a great job with the lighting and the sound effects.
Since it's a medieval city hall, I guess you had rooms like this. Oh, a Saw movie, some hooks.
It's frightening. I bet you $100 to stay the night in here.
How much is the rent?
No.
What's happening? Torture chamber.
Alright, so we decided to get a bite to eat across from the Rathaus. And we really don't eat out a lot here since we live here. We usually get groceries, but if we do eat out, it's usually Italian or Chinese food. So today we are doing Flammkuchen. And we've already eaten half of it because the church bells decided to go off for 15 whole minutes.
Einmal mit Bacon und Zwiebeln.
What if they had a competition? Both churches are just dinging their bells. Why? Why is that a thing? Yeah, but it's cool. We get to be kind of tourists in our own town today. So we got Flammkuchen, and I haven't had that since Berlin. I got the Speck und Zwiebel one. Which one is this? Arugula, mushrooms, and bacon. I really like this one. The Speck und Zwiebel one is awesome. Do I say Zwiebel funny?
Zwiebel.
Zwiebel.
I like it. Yeah,
Zwiebel. I can't do it. I really just want to roll this up and eat it like a durum, but can I fit this in the mouth? I like it. I think I like the Speck and Zwiebel one better.
So I think the problem is we don't really have too many local restaurants here. I also don't know which dish we would go for. When we eat out here, there's some very local Italian places. Everybody goes out, eat pizza, or Greek places. We have a couple. But German food, I don't really know what's super local. Local is probably more what we cook at home, right?
Yeah.
When we do like the Schwartenwurst and stuff like that. So I don't even know where Flammkuchen originates from, but it's one place here in the city and they make pretty decent ones, and I'm becoming a fan. Usually I was always like pizza over Flammkuchen, but it's pretty good.
I like it. It's light and it's delicious.
Alright, so we made it up the city center. It's really not that big. And on the other end there is this
Epic church.
the second church. Those are like sites of the city, landmarks of the city. They mark like the end of the pedestrian zone, which is the city center here. And it's really just a 3-minute walk up here.
Yeah, it's not very far. This is so epic though, because when you drive outside of the city and you're coming in, you always see these two towers. And another important fact is this little man, the statue right here, is a Pokemon gym. For anyone who's coming here, I'm battling right now as we speak.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a video here and she's just playing Pokemon all the time.
Okay, yeah, you're just trying to make a video.
It's true.
Look at I'm killing your Slowpoke right now, buddy.
Alright, so behind me that thing is another tower here, and it's the west gate of the fortress. And that tower is actually a little bit twisted. You see how the roof is twisted?
Yeah.
I think there's a story that the devil was kind of in town and the villagers were hunting the devil out of town. That is the myth. And while he was jumping over the fortress wall, he grabbed the tower, and from the momentum he spun the top. And then he jumped over and ran away. And that is how that tower got the twisted roof.
That's how that happened. This is the wall protecting the people of Duderstadt. Thou shalt not pass. From your world, I want to be where the people are.
We just made it over from the tower we just been to the remains of the wall here. This is also a pretty big chunk that is still intact. I think this part was a little bit of a lookout, and down there you can actually see that's the wall. That's the old fortress wall. And actually as a kid I climbed around on this part a lot because a friend of mine lived right there.
Yeah, it's really cool to be up here on this wall and imagine what it was like during the medieval times. Phil was telling me earlier that the stones on the street, some of them are even from the medieval times, right?
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like you're in a different time, not always like this new and modern stuff, and I think that's the charm of this town.
Alright, as we're walking into this park area here, and I almost stepped into dog poop, we just grabbed another little pastry from the bakery, and it's such a German thing. I think everywhere though, but I feel like especially in a small town you have so many bakeries and not much else.
That's one of the things I love about Germany, is that you have a lot of fresh bakeries everywhere.
Quick bite, pastry, bakery, all the time. So I think one thing that a small town definitely has up on most of the bigger cities is a lot of green, and even on the busiest streets there are usually trees and stuff like that. So it gives it a more nature connected feeling, and it's very calm as well, I would say.
Yeah, and so feels Schmetterlinge.
Schmetterling.
Oh, der Schmetterling!
Like we have a couple of these small lakes. You have the ring wall, which we're right on, like it's right there, that's the wall. So pretty green, pretty easy and quick to access some, I don't know, recreational, calming green areas. What do you think? What are your overall thoughts?
Well, we've been here for a little bit, but I really like it. During the summer, it's a really nice place to kind of walk around, exercise, play Pokemon stops. For us right now, you know how we're like looking for a place where we want to live? I think right now it's a little too small for us. I mean, you have everything you need, so it's really not a bad place to like retire or raise a family.
That's exactly how I feel. It's a very easy life here, I would say, because it's fairly cheap living, considering rents and buying a house and stuff like that. It's way cheaper than when you go to a bigger city.
Yeah.
So you get more space for the value here. And yeah, I kind of liked growing up here. We had a lot of space to just ride our bikes. We rode our bikes all day long, run around the city. It's super safe. There's barely any crime here. Another thing that I noticed is after school, most people tend to move away from here, and very few people hang back and start a life here right after school. So you go for college, university. I feel like there are people missing, young people in their 20s, in their 30s. Anyway, yeah, I want to know from you guys, what do you think? Do you prefer the small town life like this? I mean, when I grew up, I thought this is a town, this is a city. We had the villages around where all my friends were from, and I always considered, haha, I'm from the town, they're from the village.
You're so
but
cool.
Looking at it now, this is pretty rural lifestyle, I would say. So what do you prefer, big city life or small town life like this? For us, I think right now we're looking for something bigger.
Yeah.
But going through here again, it made me realize it is pretty beautiful. It's just a little boring for me at the moment, but to each their own. We're gonna end it here. We just wanted to give you an impression of a small town in Germany. This is basically the standard life, what you can get in a town of this size, like 10-20,000 population, which is super small. We're gonna take a break from our little Germany trip right now, but we already booked our next 2 cities in a couple of weeks. So the trip is gonna continue. We're gonna keep hunting for the best city in or out of Germany.
While the weather's still nice.
If you liked the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm.
It does. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.